All right, guys, we're going to look at the wing slot weak formation. This is in the Jets playbook. It's also in the Raiders playbook. It's in different playbooks, but Jets and Raiders has the most complete version. Best to use it with the Jets, obviously, with Lights having dropped his ebook. So, a couple of things about this formation. In terms of personnel, if you want to do multiple tight ends, that's up to you. Um, I have the two tight ends on the right. I have Martellus Bennett and Likely. I have two receivers over here. If you want to do the formation glitch, that's up to you. If you want better blocking. As far as the rest of the personnel, obviously, if you can get good strength and run blocking on your O line, and a mobile quarterback helps. I have Milrow. And then at running back, I mean, if you can get Brees Hall or Walter Payton, that's probably who I would go with. I like Walter Payton because of human joystick. It's only bronze, but I think it's kind of glitchy. I'm able to probably do some things I wouldn't be able to without him. So I'm going to show you this against different defenses, different meta defenses. There's a ton of runs in this formation. It has 21 plays in total. A lot of the runs are pretty useful. So the one thing I always like to do with this formation is I do like having the receivers to the weak side. So in terms of audibles, this is kind of what I have set up here. I don't think this passing play should is usually not here, but I have the sweep alert, bubble, power read, and the counter. So I'm actually going to start off with this tight end lead read here on the left, and we're going to come out in 6-1. We'll just come out in Sam Will. And like I said, I like to have the receiver to the short side. The reason for that is, it's more ground for the defense to cover if you're running to the wide side. I also notice some of these plays have a bubble, and sometimes the free safety is the one that has to cover the bubble. He has a harder time covering it if it's on the short side of the field. That's what I've noticed. So let's look at, again, this is 6-1. Sam Will. Maybe do something like this. Sometimes people bring him down, bring him. That's if they want to get real aggressive. They'll use the middle linebacker. So I'm just going to show you this first run, which is this lead read. It's actually a really good run. You can ID the user if you want. You can see we were able to actually take it up the middle there. Now I do have blocking on aggressive. I don't have my running back on aggressive. This run is really good up the middle. Just the way that it blocks, a lot of the times, this tight end coming from the other side, he'll kind of kick over. And even against other defenses, which I'll show you in a minute, you're not always going to break this for big gains, but we're able to cut it up the middle pretty consistently, even against a defense like this. So watch it again. Now that time we got caught by the linebacker. You have to be careful there. Obviously, this is a run that you're going to run against more spaced out fronts if someone's coming out in dollar, but I do want to show you how this can work again. That's kind of what we're looking for. So we're looking for that run there. You can see our center just pancake the middle linebacker. You really have to kind of cut it up the middle. So if we look here, we're just going to cut it right up the middle. I'm not hitting speed burst until I'm past the line of scrimmage. I don't want disengages. So it's a really good run. You can run it from either side. So let me show you this run against cover 4. Again, maybe they're doing something like this. We can ID the middle linebacker if we want. Sometimes I'll untarget guys on this side over here. I'm actually going to untarget this safety. That's what we want. So I really don't want any of the secondary guys blocked right now. I'll be able to handle that on my own. So you can see everyone's blocked up. We're going to be looking to hit it up the middle. Again, this is against cover 4. I got stuck on the strong safety that time. I'll get off it. sometimes they back this guy up. So again, we're untargeting secondary guys because I'm not as worried about them. You can see cover 4 does a little bit of a better job because there's a little more balance on the other side. But we were still able to, push up the middle. It's really about that middle linebacker. You can see that the center is double teaming the Youngblood here. So you can see the center is, double teaming the D tackle that's lined up in that gap. And then he's going to peel off and he's going to block the middle linebacker. So again, this is usually not a huge run. It's a lot better against the man looks that you saw earlier, but it can be really good at just chipping away at your opponent, getting them to respect the middle. This is what I've been running through ladders, and I've been pretty successful. I mean, people have done wild things. I've had people do things like this, not respect the pass at all. Obviously, at that point, you're going to have to pass a little bit. I mean, even there, we're able to get a couple yards. So let's move on to, I just want to show you all the runs against 6-1. There's also this halfback base and sweep. I don't really use them too much because I don't like the auto motion. The read bubble isn't bad. I'll show you that next. It's, again, more of a run up the middle. Maybe somebody does something like this. Again, a lot of the times people with the middle linebacker will stand back because they're going to try to shoot one of the sweeps that we have over there. So with the read bubble, again, this is kind of going to be more of an up the middle type of run. Not great against 4-3. You can see they have a really good job of shooting that. They'll have a good opportunity to shoot that run. So there's still some space there. We're getting a really good push, obviously, if our blocking is on aggressive. We'll see what changes after the patch, but for now, I'd be running it on aggressive every single time. We'll look at this against cover 4. Again, not a run I go to too much, but you can see we're able to get yards up the middle. Obviously, somebody could come in there with their user and hope and shoot the run. So my favorite inside run is the first one I showed you, the tight end lead read, for sure, against this type of defense. Now we're going to run. Let's talk about the more explosive runs in this formation. I don't really use the inside zone, like I mentioned. Tight end lead read option, that's the one that I use for up the middle type of runs. The inside zone, like I said, I don't really use. Now we're going to get into the RPO sweep alert bubble. Love this run. We'll come out and Sam will. So just look at the blocking, first of all. This is something I tend to do quite a bit, is if I see somebody getting blocked, like you can see here that the right guard is going to shoot out and try to block the strong safety. You could leave that. If you untarget him, actually, I don't think you can do that in this situation. Let me just see. Yeah, so you can't untarget him. But anyway, this is against 4-3 in man. Maybe they put 2 purples out there. Something like this. And you can also see, look how misaligned the man coverage is. This is one of the things I like about this formation. Coming out in Lice's wingtip tight flip, and then coming and, audibling over to this. It's a quick audible. You can see that the safety and the tight end, it's super misaligned. So that's something maybe they have to drag this guy over here, or maybe they just man him up and do something like this. So it really depends. But anyway, this is man with 2 purples, RPO sweep. Again, we can try to ID the middle linebacker if we want. And this is one that you are going to cut all the way outside. Middle linebacker did a really good job there. Again, maybe they move this guy over here. So you're going to have to follow your blocks. You can either take it up the middle a little bit, like in between the tight ends, but we're trying to get around the edge. That time we got an unfortunate shed. There we go. This is what we want. You can see the blocking is ridiculous. Can't tell you how many big runs I've had off of this. And I mean, again, it's a run game. You're going to have games and you're going to have plays where you do get hit for negative yardage. But for the most part, I mean, I've hit and I've crib shot huge runs with this. So somebody's going to have to be rushing out there with their user. You really need to have the fastest running back you can get. If that's Brees Hall and you have crystals, great. Again, I like Walter Payton because he's got the human joystick. Let's look at this against cover 4. Going to be a little harder because this guy's out here. And one thing just to keep in mind, with this particular run, you can't motion this guy over. This guy can get motioned, but like let's say you wanted to create extra blocking, which I'll do on certain other runs I'll show you in a minute. You can motion this receiver over, but he won't cross the formation. He'll just go right here. Doesn't really do anything for you. I mean, unless you want to just kind of mess with them. But otherwise, this is what we're looking at against cover 4. It's going to be a little bit harder, again, because they have that corner out there, but we're still able to sometimes get good yards. Lucky that guy, the D tackle, got in there that time. So something like this. We can try to cut it up the middle. Again, maybe you're not going to pop it every single time, but annoying your opponent over and over with 5, 6, 7, 8 yards, especially in this game, guys break tackles, things like that. Yeah, that time we were able to get it. So the main guy you have to worry about is obviously somebody can always shed and shoot in. It happens randomly. But we have to be worried about, the corner. Now, he's not in a run fit because he's in an outside quarter. If he were in a hard flat or a cloud flat, he'd be in a run fit. But the safeties are in run fits if they're in a cover 4. So again, that's what we're looking at. Maybe they crash down. Again, I don't know. People do weird things like this, and they're going to user this guy. So we'll just look at it one more time. This time we'll ID him, and we're going to untarget him. That's what we want. That actually looks a lot better. Untargeting him actually helped. Yeah. And then you just have to make a move. So against 4-3, 6-1, this is pretty devastating. The first run I showed you, you can pop it up the middle. Sometimes we can even get, huge yards for touchdowns. This one, we can bust it to the outside. So it's going to be really hard for them to run 6-1. The other run I want to look at is the power read. So this is something, I'll credit Jay for this, Jay himself. He told me about this a couple weeks ago in a different formation. I saw a couple of people running it online. I don't think it's really gotten the attention of a lot of the community. I really think this is the best run scheme in the whole game. I know people say that kind of shit all the time, but I really think this is the best run scheme in the game. Other than the pistol bunch tight end, you can attack everything with this. It's super hard to stop. So we're going to look at the power reads. Now, this one's a little bit different. I'm going to explain why. I think Lights talked about this. Again, we'll come out in Sam Will, and we'll put 2 purples out there. So there is a little bit of a tell with this run. The running back is lined up a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage with power read. I'll audible to the sweep alert, and you'll see he backs up. So if I come out in a different play and I audible to the power read, he moves up a little bit. If you don't do that and you just come out in the power read, I don't know. It's kind of hard for people to tell. I don't think the casual player would know. So this is the power read. Now, you have to be very careful of that defensive tackle shooting in. The thing with this run, though, is that the running back gets like this crazy little speed burst, and this is another run that you can crib shot. I usually don't get an in between with this type of run. This is usually it's either a yard for a loss for a yard, or it's a touchdown. So you have to really watch the guy with the read key over his head. Try doubling him. I honestly don't even know if that would do anything. Maybe it does. The other thing with this run, you have to look out for the strong safety. You could see that there. Um, so let's see. This time the read key is this guy over here. I don't really think that does anything. The run game's kind of weird. I mean, there are things people always talk about. You can ID guys. It matters. It doesn't matter. It's just hard to say. So let's look at the blocking here. So the problem is nobody is blocking the defensive end, which is kind of funny. Let's see if we ID him. Oh, because we're double teaming him. So he comes free there, but he took the quarterback. That's kind of what we want. So I've had that happen a lot. Let's look at that again. I want to see what happens if we ID him. So we ID'd him this time. So again, we're looking at man with two purples. Okay. So we ID'd that guy that's on the read. So you really do have to be careful of the strong safety in this case. I really do like the first two runs that we showed over the power read for this specific way of doing it. Let's look at it against cover 4. So again, same thing. That guy is on the read key. Maybe we ID him. And we fake out the corner. So it's not a clean run against this type of defense. The first two runs, I think, are a little bit better. But you can see that we're still able to get pretty big yards here. And maybe IDing this guy as the mic is making a big difference. I honestly don't know. That time we weren't able to get around the edge. You can see that he's hesitating a little bit. I think it's also going to depend on what your opponent has on for their read keys in their settings. I pretty much have mine set to standard, kind of like how it was last year. See if we double team him, what happens. Yeah, it wasn't great that time. We'll try it one more time. So again, just to kind of recap so far, against 4-3-6-1, 4-3 even 6-1, the lead option and the RPO sweep bubble are the two that we like the most. And the power read is so far okay. I'm not going to ID anyone this time. Yeah, that's kind of what we're looking for right there. So you can see it's not as consistent as the other two. I love that lead read. This one is more of a home run shot. If it's at the end of the half or the end of the game, if it's like a short down and distance, if it's 2nd and 1, I don't want to really do this on first down because it could be 2nd and 12 or something like that. So we want to maintain good down and distance. So we'll stick with 4-3, even 6-1. The other run that we want to look at, there's also a QB wrap. I'll talk about that in a minute. There is a midline read option, not something I really use. There's also this Bucks, the peak Buck slant, not a big fan of that. The Buck sweep read option is the other one that I like. I have it set in my audibles. So it's similar to the sweep that we talked about first, but there's no RPO. So again, first thing I like to do is look at the blocking. It has the right guard shooting all the way up to the safety. I don't really love that. Yeah, we can untarget him. And then, we'll ID the middle linebacker. That's kind of more of what we want. And then maybe we untarget this guy. So it's very similar. That time the middle linebacker did a great job of shooting out. But it's similar to the sweep that we looked at first. Again, you don't have to untarget and do all this. I've had plenty of games where I haven't done it, and I've just run, and I've had a lot of success. This middle linebacker is doing a great job on this run. That's Kuechly. This doesn't happen all the time. Yeah, sometimes you got to play around with it. He gets stuck. Obviously, that's someone's user quite a bit, but you can see that we're able to pop it around for a big run. Again, it's not going to be like you're going to have this happen every time, but with the 3 or 4 runs that we've looked at so far, there's so much that you can just put together with this. Now we'll look at this against cover 4. Yeah, I actually like this run better against cover 4. I don't love this as much against the man with 2 purples. Maybe we untarget this guy, and we'll ID the middle linebacker. Could be their user. You can see we can kind of pop it up the middle. So there is a chance we could have cut it back. I just want to show this really quick. We could have cut it back right about there. It takes a little nifty stick work, but we could have cut it back right about there, and I think we would have had a huge play. Unfortunately, my left guard decided to totally whiff, which is unfortunate. We'll look at it one more time. And then we'll talk about runs to the other side in a minute. Yeah, this run's having a tough time. So it's something that we're going to need to look at again. This is kind of what we want. That's what we were looking for. Now, the safety made a really good play there. It's going to be hard to get all the way around the edge with this run. So far, the sweep bubble is my favorite one. We'll try it again. Yeah, you can see there that they're just doing a good job of stringing things out. So you might need to kind of cut things up the middle, more of like a zone run. Yeah, that's what you need. You need to be able to steer it up the middle. So it's kind of tough against cover 4. At least I wanted to show you this. So far we know against that the tight end lead read option and the sweep are the 2 best ones so far. We're going to look at the speed option next. So now you have a way of attacking the other side. So we're going to have man with 2 purples. Now, we have to look at the read key. So the defender here, the outside linebacker, he's going to be the one that's basically taking care. He's going to be the one that's looking at the quarterback, looking at the pitch. I wouldn't run this against this type of look. First thing I would do is probably motion this guy over if I was really set on running this. So now you have less blockers to that side. And basically, you're reading that defender. He's going to be kind of playing in between, depending on what they have their settings at. But you're really going to be looking to pitch this. So you can see, I don't know why he kind of went out like that. He shouldn't have. But we were able to pitch it. Let's try that again. So again, he's the read key against the pass. So we're able to get upfield. We could have pitched that. You have to be very careful. Let's look at this against cover 4. Let me go back. One of the other things I didn't talk about before. Let's go back and look at the RPO sweep. One of the things that we can do is use motion, especially if they're coming out in more cover 4 looks. So again, if you're seeing this, now we can motion him over, and this is what I meant to show earlier. Now at least we'll have another receiver out there, and the corner has to respect him. So this is going to help with our blocking. That's more of what we're looking for. That strong safety still made a great play. At least that time we were able to kick it out. So that's one of the things that I'll do. It's a tell for sure. You're definitely letting your opponent know, most likely, that you're planning to go that way, unless you're going to run the speed option and go the opposite way. So let's look at the speed option against cover 4. So we won't use any motion this time. That time he stays, I guess because he was in a purple earlier, or it was a man play. Honestly, I don't know. But this is against cover 4. That time he bit down. Depending on who your quarterback is, definitely want someone with speed. It's hard. You're not going to pop big runs. You also can't flip this speed option. Some speed options you can flip. This one you can't. Show you what this looks like when the guy's motioned over. So this is obviously you're not going to have as many blockers over there. This is just something you want to kind of play around with your opponent with, giving them different looks. There are times you can pop it up the middle, and if you see the linebacker crash down, then you pitch it. You have to be careful with your pitches. You don't want to fumble. So speed options are a risky play. Got to be careful. Now let's look at the counter. Also like this run as well, and then I think we'll wrap it up with the QB wrap. So the counter is also pretty decent. It's man with 2 purples. I would not run the counter against this because the left side is super flooded. I'll just show you here. You can still get pretty big runs, believe it or not. The blocking is actually really good. It's not like a normal counter. A lot of counters are super slow. This one is actually quick developing. And you're getting the right guard and the outside tight end pulling. These guys do a really good job. The left guard and the left tackle do a really good job of down blocking. And that outside linebacker just kind of stands there. You see him on the left. Now you have to be careful of the user shooting in there, but you can see Metcalf did a good job of taking out 2 guys. So we're able to pop this. I probably prefer to run this than the speed option. And we didn't ID or do anything that time. So somebody's out here. Sometimes we pop it up there. He does a good job there. You're usually looking to take it in outside the left tackle, in between the left tackle and the wide receiver. That's where we're looking to take this run. So right around there. Again, not a huge hole. It's your job to, obviously to figure out where the best hole is. So the linebacker was there at that time. Yeah, the linebacker's doing a good job. Like I said, this is not something I'd really run most of the time against this. The first one we popped, which was pretty good. This is against cover 4. That time they did a good job of sealing it off there. This is something I typically run against more base defenses like nickel 2-4-5 or something like that. Yeah. This is not a run you're going to pop big for the most part, but if I can get 4 or 5 yards, that's fine with me. That's what we want. I mean, that's ideal. You can see it's not going to happen every time, but we really have answers. If you have somebody that's running 6-1, we have answers. We've shown you how to run up the middle. We've shown you we can run to the left side, to the wide side, and now we're popping it back to the short side. So we can look at the QB wrap here. Got to be careful. Somebody mentioned in the Discord chat that this is best running to the left. I wasn't familiar with that. It's good to know. We'll kind of test it out. I've only tested this a little bit, so just being honest, not a run that I've been using too much. But there you go. That's against man with 2 purples. Let's try it again. Not great that time. Yeah, that time they got a shed from the secondary. I mean, you can see the hole is there. Again, it's going to depend. What are they going to do with their user? Are they going to follow the running back? It's kind of one of those weird plays where it's a little bit of like misdirection and confusing. Yeah, that time the right guard was really slow. We're going to look at this one more time, and then I want to try something else. Perfect. There we go. So we'll just look at the replay. We have answers for everything. If someone's running this defense, there's no reason to pass. Yeah, the middle linebacker's going the opposite way. Again, that's probably would be someone's user. You're going to think that they're going to shoot right in between the left tackle and the left guard. Again, DK Metcalf putting in work, taking two guys out. Not bad. Again, we're on aggressive blocking. So far, we can recap. Actually, we'll show this against cover 4. You'd think this would be better. Let's see. Yeah, that linebacker just stands there. Kind of unusual. Not great against cover 4. That's all. I was already kind of thinking it might not be as good. Yeah, we'll try it one more time. I think this is going to be better against man. Yeah, definitely not as good. So far, what we've kind of established against 6-1, we'll just go back and kind of breeze through the runs so far. And again, if you want to play around with the other runs, that's fine. Against 6-1, we know that we have tight end lead read option. It's best against man with 2 purples. It was also good against cover 4, but man with 2 purples is perfect against tight end lead read option. Tight end lead read option is good against man with 2 purples. Speed option is okay. Looked like it was probably better against the man version. The counter is also decent. Looked like it was better against the man version. The read option's okay. We didn't really look at that here. It's just not a run that I use too much. I don't see any value. I still think this read option's better. The read RPO bubble, the RPO read bubble is fine. It's up the middle. I think you can run that against anything. These 2 runs, if anything, I'd probably run the buck sweep. The base is not good. I've used it. Don't love it. Inside zone, don't love it. The QB wrap, we could see that it was better against the man with 2 purples. RPO sweep alert bubble looks like it's good against everything. And then the power read, didn't love it at all in this, to be honest. And the other one was the buck sweep, which was good against cover 4, moving the guy out. So overall, if you're looking to pop big runs, the buck sweep read option is good against cover 4. And I would say the other one was the RPO version of that. I feel like you could run against either one. So that is basically what we're looking at from wing slot week. And again, I like running it to the short side of the field with the wide receivers, and this is against 6-1 primarily.